What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY 2021 is coming to an end. Let's take a look back, though, and see what my top albums were for 2021. Now, the thing about this is the first year that I used Apple Music. I've always used Spotify beforehand, but I always like the idea of iTunes Match, which literally matches what your iTunes has, and that's kind of a built-in feature of having Apple Music. So I figured I would just give it a shot, give it a try. They had a free trial for it about the beginning of the year last year. So I tried Apple Music, and so some of the top artists that you're going to see on here, they're not quite, I would say, accurate, because what I did is whenever you upload your CDs into iTunes, if you name it differently, it'll show up like in your Apple Music differently. And that's what happened with like Double Dragon and Cabal. I actually named it Cabal and Double Dragon, whereas through Apple Music, they know it as Buckshot and Kung Fu Vampire, Buckshot, Mr. Gray, and Low Key. So I don't exactly have accurate numbers for that. If I would have just left it alone and just added the digital version of the album to my Apple Music library and listen to the albums in that way, I feel like I would have a better number of how many times I listened to the album, because I've tried to like break it down and figure out how they add it all up, because it'll go through and it'll tell you like how many plays you have for each album. I try to add up like the play count through my actual iTunes, and I can't come up with like how they figure how many times I listen to an album. Like, for instance, it'll have like 300 some plays. I can't figure out how that is. I'm assuming it's every time you listen to a song from the specific album, but every time I add that play count up through iTunes, it doesn't seem to add up to me. So I can't really get an accurate number for how many times I listen to Double Dragon and how many times I listen to Cabal. I know I listen to it a lot, but it unfortunately isn't going to be on this list. And I wasn't sure yet how I wanted to really kind of do this list, if I wanted to include albums that did not come out in 2021, because there are a few of them on here. And I ultimately decided these are the albums I listened to in 2021, regardless of when they came out. So I'll let you guys decide down below if you think that I should not count them or not. I'm just going to show you what my top 10 albums are. But I do feel like Double Dragon and Cabal would be in there somewhere. But again, I named it differently when I uploaded the CD to iTunes, so I don't feel like it properly tracked it. So I know now going into 2022 that when new albums come out, just add the digital version to my Apple Music and just not even upload the physical copy into iTunes, because the iTunes Match uploads and I feel like it messes up the play count in a way. So I have it pulled up here. What you're going to see first is my top 10 artists. Now, as you can tell, this is the year that I discovered Low Key. I discovered him about, I would say, July. It was a little bit towards the end of June that Cabal came out. I listened to that album and was blown away. Having always heard the homie Ronebone from Beneath the Dirt say that Low Key is an amazing artist, super talented, I never went and checked him out. And when I listened to Cabal, I was like, I have to go check him out now. So I just hit his most recent album, which was Metanoia, and kind of worked backwards. A lot of people recommended his horrorcore, but I gravitated to his Oracle albums first. I have ventured out into a lot more of the horrorcore, like Demon Days, American Monster. I don't know if you would call Chameleatic horrorcore or not. The House is really good. What's the one I'm forgetting? Let's Get Violent is a really good one. That's one of the ones that people like were really recommending. American Monster, Let's Get Violent. More so Chainsaw Symphony. But I gravitated to a lot of his Oracle albums first and then went from there. So a lot of exploring. 96 hours of listening to Low Key. So something to keep in mind when you're looking at this. A lot of you are probably thinking, oh, ICP is number 2. ICP is number 2, only releasing 2 albums, Yum Yum's Lure and Yum Yum Bedlam. So that's something to keep in mind, especially when you look at my top 10 here. Yum Yum Bedlam came out literally not even 2 months ago. So just keep that in mind. It was the homie Ross TV. Shout out to him, by the way. I had posted a couple weeks ago when everybody started doing their like Spotify and shit like that, I had posted my top 10, and the homie Ross TV was like, ICP is not even number one. Are you even a Juggalo? Something like that. That's paraphrasing like a motherfucker. But he said something along those lines, and I replied to him. I said, keep in mind though, this is off an album that came out, you know, back at the beginning of November. That just tells you how many times I've listened to that album. A lot of people aren't liking it. I fucking love it. And number 10, we're just going to scroll right down to it. Number 10 was Yum Yum's Lure. I feel like I need to show this a little bit better. Let me move me out of the way. You're going to see like my number 5 and all that. I've done a horrible job like making this like a countdown. It really doesn't even matter. I just want to show you guys what I've been listening to and kind of talk about it a little bit. So let me move me around here a little bit. We're going to move me up like this and move me like that. Hang on, I got to hit the Alt key to do this here. Maybe. Is it going to let me? No, I want you. And I want you to move. That's not going to let me go. Really much better than that. So we're just going to stick me right up here, right above the albums. So Yum Yum's Lure, I thought it was a great EP. A lot of people did not like it at all, much like Yum Yum Bedlam. There was a lot more praise for Yum Yum's Bedlam than for Yum Yum's Lure. I've joked around that I'm like one of 5 juggalos that likes this album. That number's increased a little bit because every time I've made that statement, there are people that have come out and said, oh, I like it. So, I don't know what it was that people didn't like about it. There were things that I guess I understand, like the little bottle rocket in Afraid of Life. I can't unhear it now because everybody kind of pointed out that that was super fucking annoying and they were like didn't like that, and now I can't unhear it myself, so it does kind of bother me. But Ding Ding Doll is an amazing fucking song, and so many people say they didn't like it, that the sound effects were annoying. And then I literally went and listened to Riddlebox back in October, trying to kind of get prepared for the new Joker card, and I was like, there are so many sound effects in Toy Box, yet people complained about it in Ding Ding Doll. I guess I don't fully understand it, but getting ready for the new Joker card, I re-listened to Yum Yum's Lure. In the review that I dropped for it, I had said that I didn't really care for the Clown Heads song. It's actually grown on me quite a bit. So I can actually listen to Yum Yum's Lure all the way through. It does get, there's tracks in there that definitely get skipped, but I can listen to it front to back. So number 9 is Collective Soul's Discipled Breakdown. Now, the thing about this is I've actually always been a fan of Collective Soul, but I only ever had one album, the 7 Year Itch Greatest Hits album that they released back in 2001. For whatever reason, I never really ventured out into their discography and listened to the full albums, and this year I did that. And one of the albums that really stood out for me was Disciplined Breakdown. I would say between, it would have been right around April and May and a little bit of June, I think. Yeah, it would have been June because it was before Fear Factory's new album came out. I was listening to a ton of Collective Soul, but I was also listening, I would do like a complete polar opposite. I would listen to Collective Soul, but then I would listen to Fear Factory getting ready for the new Fear Factory album. So, you know, I was going and seeing a lot of like top 10 Fear Factory album lists, and people would always say that Transgression by Fear Factory is their worst album. And I would always kind of go and defend it and say, because, you know, I'm able to go listen to Collective Soul and then turn around and listen to Fear Factory. And to me, Transgression is more of a softer rock than it is, or not so much a softer rock. It's more of a rock album than metal, which I think is why a lot of the fans don't like Transgression. But, you know, I'd always kind of throw out Collective Soul there as I can listen to them and then listen to Fear Factory. So number 8 is The Eyes of Parasuva. Now, like I said, the Oracle albums are what I gravitated to the most, and this was the first one that I visited. Straight up, it was the most recent one that came out, having just came out a little over a year ago now. Absolutely love it. I was not able to find a physical copy that has the unchained versions of the songs, which are just absolutely fucking beautiful. So if there's anybody who knows where I can get a physical copy of the album, it's the deluxe version that you had to get from pre-ordering. So if somebody had pre-ordered it and is wanting to part, reach out to me, because I'm looking for the one. I'm looking for a copy of the deluxe that has the physical copy of the unchained versions. They're available digitally, so I've been able to listen to them at least. But absolutely love that album, man. Loki is fucking like Roan has said, talented, and at this point I would say probably underrated too. So jumping right into number 7, keeping it right on Loki, was Metanoia. Like I said, the first album I listened to of his, I just went backwards, listened to Metanoia, was absolutely blown away because, you know, everybody was recommending horrorcore. I had just listened to Cabal, which I would say is, you know, wicked shit. And here I am listening to this metal album. I'm like, wait, so this is low-key? It threw me for a loop because that wasn't what I was expecting from him. But he's talented, you know what I mean? I've dropped my review for that one already. There's really only one song on that album I did not care for. But yeah, Metanoia, wonderful album. What is that? 157 plays for that one. I haven't really been mentioning the plays. I hope you guys can see them down there. It's very like fuzzy. 128 plays on Yum Yum's Lure, 130 plays on Disciplined Breakdown, 147 on The Eyes of Parasuva, and 157 on Metanoia. Moving right down the motherfucking line, number 6 is The Blood of Izu by Loki. Like I said, Oracle albums. And really kind of, I guess, bouncing off of Metanoia, I absolutely love Blood of Izu. It's like, it's a metal album, but there's a couple tracks in there, like 1 or 2, I would say, that are more so rap than there is rock. But this, hands down, Blood of Izu is my favorite Oracle by Loki. Again, it really just shows the range of talent. When you go and you listen to Cabal, you listen to Metanoia, you listen to Eyes of Parasuva, and then you go and listen to Blood of Izu. The range of music he's doing in those 4 albums, fucking amazing, talented individual. So, yeah, Blood of Izu, it saw 160 plays. And again, I only started listening to Low Key back in July. So, number 5 is Self-Medicated by Jelly Roll. I fucking love this album so much. I think it didn't quite make like the top 10 list on my Spotify last year because it had come out in October. It might have. I don't even remember. I'd have to go back and I'd have to look. But I went into Self-Medicated last year very unexpecting much. A Beautiful Disaster was a good album, but it really got overshadowed by World War Me by King ISO. That album was fucking amazing, so I didn't really go and listen to A Beautiful Disaster a lot. But when Self-Medicated came out, same kind of situation. It dropped the same time that a lot of other albums did, but there was something about this one that was just great. Granted, it happened in the fall. I had just left my job of 9 years, so there was a lot of change in my life. And, you know, usually in the fall, I don't know if other people suffer from this. I do suffer this from a lot. For whatever reason, there's this like unknown sadness that kind of creeps into my everyday life when the fall rolls around. And a lot of times I think that has to do because every time something major life-changing in my life has happened, whether it be a move or getting like kicked out of places I was staying, they always happen in the fall. Like so much shit happens in the fall for me, so I think that's part of what it is. And this album really just kind of I guess captured me in a way that I fell in love with it. So Self-Medicated, definitely a great album if you haven't listened to it. So number 4 is Asinine by Tech Nine, and I know right now there's a lot of people that just aren't happy with Tech Nine, you know, especially after the whole Versus kind of bullshit that's going on. I haven't dropped my 2 cents on that. I really don't know if I will. I went into Asinine kind of the same way as Self-Medicated, not expecting a whole lot. Nina was a great album, but when it came to Interfere, I was honestly disappointed with Interfere. I like about half of that album. The rest tends to be skippable for me. So I went into Asinine just not expecting a whole lot from Tech. Also, he had released Blight this year with him and I don't remember the dude's name. That's how unforgettable that was. I think it was Cash. Is it Cash? I don't remember. But he released that album, which was a different style, different sound. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. But I went into Asinine just with almost no expectations at all because of Interfere. And he surprised the shit out of me. I really like Asinine a lot. It's an album I can listen to front to back. There's only like 1 or 2 songs I have the urge to skip. They're towards the middle towards the end a little bit. But yeah, Asinine was a great album. So getting into number 3, I have actually for 2019, and it might have been 2018, Mayday dominated my Spotify Wrapped Up. I had discovered them, fell in love with them, and Minute to Midnight was an album that I was really hyped for. I do believe like the 4 songs off of the first EP, because you know that's how Strange Music has been doing those kind of things lately. They release like 4 songs, and they release 4 more, and then they release 4 more, and then they release the album. At least that's how they were doing it there for a while, for a couple years. I think they stopped because I don't remember them playing a whole lot of Asinine or releasing a whole lot of Asinine in that EP form. But I think some of the songs from the first EP for Minute to Midnight ended up in my 2019 or 2020, Wrapped Up Spotify, because I just love it. Fucking great fucking album. This actually sat at number 2 for a long time. So just gonna get right into the top 2, and I want to say number 2 sat at number 1 for months. I honestly didn't know if it was going to get knocked out of the number 1 spot. It stayed there for at least 6 months. But a lot of people know I'm a huge fan of theirs, and I think some people don't expect it. But Fear Factory sat at the number 1 spot for like 6 months. Aggression Continuum. I was so fucking ecstatic for this album to come out. I didn't know if it ever would. For those who don't know about Fear Factory, they've actually been going through some legal issues for the last several years. The former band, 2 of the former band members had taken them to court over, and I'm going to probably butcher the facts here, but basically they were trying to sue the 2 current members at the time, Dino Cazares and Burton C. Bell, the singer and the lead guitarist, or the guitarist. They were basically trying to sue them for like royalties because they had... Apparently, the way that they had a deal set up was everybody owned ownership in the name Fear Factory. So with albums being released, my guess is Raymond and Christian wanted their cut. I don't know the full story. I just know they were in a legal battle for a few years over it. And at one point, there was talks of them actually calling the band Fear Campaign instead of Fear Factory. Thank God Dino won and was able to keep Fear Factory. That is such a better name than Fear Campaign. But this album finally came out, and unfortunately it marked the final album that Burton C. Bell would be a part of as of now. I don't know if that'll ever change or not, but you know, through those through all the legal issues and legal battles and all that shit, Burton unfortunately lost his shares in the name or whatever, his ownership of the band name, and the fucking, what's the word I'm looking for here? But he basically had lost his rights to it, and Dino had bought them to try to save it, you know, to save the band from being in the hands of somebody else. And my guess is Burton took that as greedy, so, you know, he had left the band. So I don't know if he'll ever join again or not, but Fear Factory is planning to carry on with a new singer. It's going to be a huge adjustment, but you know, Aggression Continuum marks the final album that, as of right now, Burton will be a part of, which he's been like the centerpiece to all of the albums. There for a while, Dino wasn't in the band, and it was just Raymond, Christian, and Burton, and they released 2 albums without Dino. And you know, the common element has always been Burton's vocals, so it's going to be a huge adjustment going forward, having a new vocalist. But I'm prepared, and you know, I have faith that Dino will make a good pick for who replaces Burton. I don't think he'll just slap anybody into that position. And so, of course, we get to number 1, Yum Yum Bedlam. This album came out on Halloween, and this album has seen 341 plays. I haven't even been talking about the plays. Like I said, I hope you guys can hear it. Or, yeah, hear it. I hope you guys can see that okay. But 341 plays of this album since it came out. And I've had people dropping comments on my review saying that there's no way that I could like this album, that I have to be faking it. How can I fake that? I mean, I guess I could put the album on play and just walk away and let it play, but why would I fake that? Why would I fake that? This album is amazing to me. I will say, as time has gone on, there's one track that I've been skipping more, and that has been Heart and Soul. I don't feel like it doesn't feel like an ICP song to me, so it does tend to get skipped. Other than that, the only other skip the album sees is when the, Richard Cheese comes on. It was funny the first couple times that I listened to it. Now I just feel like it's filler, and I skip it. And I probably will go through, edit that out, burn the CD, maybe re-upload it, so that that's just not part of it when I listen to it in the future. Because, skip, you know what I mean? I'm ready to move on. It's like 2 minutes long. Yeah. But Yum Yum Bedlam, I think, is an amazing fucking album. I'm not sure where it is people aren't liking it, but it's a different style too. You know, Fearless Fred Fury saw Jay rapping differently. I'm seeing a lot of, and hearing a lot of people say that Jay isn't Jay, it's Joe Bruce rapping. That doesn't make sense to me, but I guess I get it. He sounds different, his style's different. But his voice also was starting to change a little bit around Mighty Death Pop times, and I feel like it's slowly gotten, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, not quite as deep. He's a little bit more like this in the way that he raps. So, yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I guess I understand if you didn't, but yeah, it is what it is. I fucking love the album, and I've been listening to the shit out of it, and I can't wait for the seeds to drop. But there you guys go. That is my top 10 albums of 2021. Like I said, there's a few of them in here that they didn't come out in 2021, but I listened to them so much that you might as well just say they're my top albums. You know, Blood of Izu, Eyes of Parasuva, they didn't come out this year, but I felt like it was important to really just kind of show what I've been listening to, regardless of when they came out. Because, you know, especially with Low Key, I feel like it's really important to show, like, just how much I've become a fan of his. And, you know, maybe if somebody's like, well, if DC likes it, we have a similar taste in music, maybe I should go check Low Key out. You know what I mean? I guess that's kind of why I threw those in there. But up here at the top, I'm not going to show it because I want it to be a surprise. But there's actually a playlist that got saved of my top 100 of 100 of the songs that got the most listens to out of everything that I just showed here. So I think something that'll be really fun is to do a live stream of us listening together. I don't know how long of a live stream that would be. You know, maybe if I have my feel, I'm ready to kind of stop the stream. Maybe we've only listened to 20 of the songs. But I think it would be fun to just go through and listen to my top songs of 2021. You know, again, the same thing's going to happen where they weren't songs that all came out in 2021. But, you know, it would give you guys an opportunity to listen with me. Would have a little listening party. I will probably have my Switch and play my Nintendo Switch while we do it. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll just be more focused on interacting with the chat. But I think that would be a fun live stream to do. I don't know when, though. I'm thinking and aiming for the weekend, maybe Saturday, possibly Sunday. What I would suggest to you is just make sure you're glued to the channel. I will post a post in the community tab on the main page of the channel, so make sure you're checking that out to see if I posted anything. Of course, I have Instagram and I have Twitter as well. I don't know if I would make a post on there, but definitely in the community tab here on the channel is a good place to look. But that's a live stream that would be fun. I think that's something that I want to do, and if that's something that you would want to be a part of, then come kick it. We'll listen to some fucking music together, and maybe I'll introduce you to some shit you didn't know you liked. But anyway, that is my top 10 albums of 2021. Tell me down below how many of these albums were in your top 10. Whether you have Apple Music, whether you have Spotify, or whether you just know that you've listened to it a shit ton. This is purely just going off of numbers here, so it's pretty easy to go in there and say, like, this is my top album of the year. You know, numbers, they don't lie. Apple Music is saying this is what I listen to the most. Some of it not so accurately, because I feel like Double Dragon would be on here. I feel like Cabal would be on here, but unfortunately, in the ways that I uploaded it, I don't think it properly tracked it. So they're definitely going to be in the top 15. I could guarantee that because they've been listened to, but there's your numbers right there. Buckshot is on there. That tells you something. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.